This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975, was advertised, posted, and made available to the public as required by statute. The municipal clerk is directed to include a statement in the minutes of this meeting. Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, we had one, just the addition of a presentation for the 15th Street Warehouse relocation pole building options.
Thank you. Move on to presentations.
So I think Commissioner Watson had that presentation.
I believe this was, you didn't have it ready since last meeting, correct?
I'll tell you on microphone.
Excellent. Make sure it's on.
Show 'em, Lex.
Testing, testing. Microphone's on. So yeah, this I was trying to work on this presentation, have it up for the last meeting. I couldn't get it done because I didn't have the quotes for the pole buildings. So a couple meetings ago back now, we explored some options that was, for the 15th Street relocation. Wanted to dig in a little bit on one of those options and kind of share that with everybody here tonight. So buying the time, temporary solutions for the long-term goal. In this agenda, we're going to talk about temporary space, permanent solutions, which leads to our pole building estimates. A heating option, just something to go over. I wasn't able to get HVAC pricing because obviously it depends on size, cubic feet, the insulation. That's something that's going to have to be, quoted out down the road here, and just a quick summary. So temporary space that it's available. This is one space that was offered from the sewer department. It's about 1,000 square feet. It has 4 large garage doors, 2 separate bays. One of the big concerns was, again, this truck that you see right here, the Vector, has water stored, answer emergency calls for sewer backups. It's best practice to leave water in the truck so the guys can get out and address any calls. So we'd have to have this area back up and running for the sewer department when it comes to winter or freezing conditions. If this new build option is something that we're going to consider, one of the things that we would have to do is just make sure that the first pole barn built, whatever storage is being used here at the sewer department, it was vacated. The shipping containers, we kind of I'd go over some costs here. $2,600 for used, $5,300 for new. They're 40 by 8, which is about 320 square feet. In the previous presentation, our engineer, Wayne Johnson, kind of went over the access area. So that 320 does not include access area. But an idea just to kind of spread out, your purchasing or, what each department pays. This is just an example. You just split the cost between departments. You have Parks Department, sewer, water, police, fire, however you want to do it, how many cans each department has, but basically you're not putting the cost on every department. But after, if this option is something we're going to consider, after the build, after the pole barns are built, our departments have something to show for it at the end. They have storage on site to use at their departments or at their disposal. So it just kind of gets rid of that leasing option. So total cost to the city, if we were to buy new, is a little over $41,000. At the most for the containers for used would be $18,400. Those prices there, that's delivered. And that's if we went with 1 for parks, 3 for sewer, 2 for water, 1 for police, and 1 for fire. So yeah, at the end, the department has additional storage when moves are complete. The airport building lease, it's 2,000 square feet. It's available. It's a climate-controlled area, so it's good for records. The lease length can be signed for 1 year. Kind of depends on how fast we want to get in there almost, but it does require some investments and some work has to be done. I haven't been on site, but it's something that if we're interested in going this route, we can evaluate and have the right people out there, the right officials to determine cost. But it's going to be $8,000 for the year plus whatever the construction cost would be. And before we dive into it, I'm kind of big on this idea. only because it's a permanent solution. We're not necessarily just trying to, find space. It's kind of focusing on the needs of what the city departments need, or, how to move forward and how to make their department better and efficient. So the focus for records. Under the state of New Jersey's best practice and proper record storage includes ideal temperatures at the stable 70 degrees Fahrenheit at relative humidity between 30% to 50%, no higher than 70%. The best practice states do not store on wooden shelving and to use metal shelving. Stacking pallets is not best practice. Uniform metal shelving at arm's reach in a climate-controlled area is necessary. Low ceiling height, 8 to 9 feet, would be better for efficiency. The Parks Department, from 2003 to 2016, they worked out of a single-wide trailer with tents and sheds. Parks then shared the 15th Street facility with multiple departments. Going this route, it's an opportunity to fix years of unnecessary working conditions. The Public Works and Recreation Department, they use vehicles and equipment for long-term years. Having backhoes vehicles, commercial mowers, tractors, etc., storing them inside prolongs the life of that equipment. And simply just ask the residents, where do you put your mower? Do you leave it outside or do you put it in a shed? You want to prolong the life. For police, without the 15th Street warehouse, our police department has no storage. IM9 is a continuous concern to remain covered and out of the elements. The Streets and Roads and now Fleet has offered storage to multiple departments. That storage area obviously has depleted after vacating the warehouse. Fleet will also need a garage bay used currently for IM9 to install a new vehicle lift, hopefully sometime this year if the capital budget gets approved. Fire, just like police, has limited storage options. Space is exhausted from the firehouse. Fire requires space to remain efficient and organized. They need an area for continuous and uninterrupted training. Equipment and gear that are operable but are not used frequently can be stored at a storage location separated from the fire hall. So for the records building, 4,000 square feet was requested. The quoted amount that you're going to see a little bit in a couple slides, that was a 60 by 80 by 10, which is about 4,800 square feet. Has one overhead door, 2 personal entry doors, finished low ceiling height for efficiency, requires climate controlled area. The HVAC is not included with the quote. Electric throughout is not included with the quote, but a 4-inch concrete floor is. For the Parks building, 16,250 square feet was requested. What was quoted was 80 by 200 by 16, which is about 16,000 square feet. 4 overhead doors was requested. The Parks Department does need a 20 by 75 area for personnel to include like a locker room, break room, bathroom. It's included in the square footage, but would not be included in today's quote. The 6-inch concrete floor is included. No AC or heat in the warehouse. No AC in the warehouse, but heat would be required in the warehouse. And the quote that you're going to see does have the insulation. HVAC is needed for personnel for the 20 by 75 area. It's not included in this quote. Plumbing is needed and electrical is needed. For the police building, 2,000 square feet was requested. A 40 by 60 by 16 was quoted, which is 2,400 square feet. 3 overhead doors was requested. No AC, but heat and insulation was. This does not include insulation in today's price. 1 personnel door for access. 6-inch concrete floor is included, and the warehouse does need electrical, which is not included. For the fire department, 5,000 square feet was requested. So for the quote, it's 100 by 50 by 16. 5 overhead doors was requested. No AC, but heat and insulation will be required, which is not included in the quote. 4 personal entry doors, 6-inch concrete floors is included in the quote, and obviously we need electric as well, which is not included in the quote. The OEM building, 40 by 80 by 16, 3,200 square feet. 1 overhead door, 12 foot wide, 14 foot tall for the doors, and that's for most of the buildings that we have to fit large equipment in and out. We have a 6-inch concrete floor, which was included in the quote. No AC was requested, but heat and insulation would be needed, which is not included. One personal access door and electric throughout, which is not included. So these are the building estimates. So at the end of it, we're a little over 1.6 million, but we're looking at 31,400 square feet. Again, the quotes do not include heat, AC, electrical, plumbing. The current warehouse we have now is more than 43,000 square feet. The Columbia Avenue building, which is another option that we were looking at, was only 16,600 square feet. And the listing price for what I was told, or I should say not listing price, but the price that I was told was 1.5 million and a possible $1 million roof replacement in less than 10 years. Some of the small print that I couldn't get into the quote slides, the pricing includes architectural drawings and engineering seals, which includes interior walls, heating, plumbing, and electrical. Quotes include prevailing wage rate. Quotes include construction debris for removal. Pricing is with OSHA compliance packages. Permits must be pooled, but once they're pooled and is in hand, it's a 30 to 60 days before build begins. Large pole buildings, at the time the build begins, is 6 to 10 weeks. And right now we're kind of going through a way to work with a co-op through Omni, which the city is already a part of. Trying to gather some more information. In the past few days, we've been trying to go back and forth, so don't really have too much on that, but it's just something we're looking into. I couldn't put in there HVAC quotes, but in most pole barns warehousing, they have ceiling-mounted heaters. This is something that you're going to be looking at. This is 250,000 BTU per hour. The estimated cost is $2,400 each. Put the calculation in, kind of simple. And this is what we got just to heat the warehouse. I left the records building off of it because that would need full HVAC. So with parks, police, fire, and OEM, just the warehouse costs just to heat those buildings with the appropriate insulation, we're looking over a little $28,000. So we have the breakdown. So the building estimates, the heating option, the year airport lease, and the shipping containers. If we went used, not new, we're about 1.7 million. And that's all I had for you.
Did you consider the time that it would take to put these buildings out for bid? Is they're going to be over the aggregate of $47,000, obviously?
So right now we're trying to get information on the Omnia co-op, which the city's already a part of.
All right, you're going to get surprised there. Also, when you put bathrooms in, you have to have architectural drawings. Did you consider that?
Architectural drawings come with these quotes
For the bathrooms?
for plumbing, yeah.
Yeah. Also, just to give you an idea of price of electric, we went to replace the electrical service at Lakeside. Not replace it, upgrade it. The cost that we were quoted was over $10,000. So leaving that electric part out is a huge cost, especially when you're paying electricians' rates. So you might want to get some idea of that before you kind of like figure out your total price. And so I guess what I'm going to ask is, what's your end goal? You said temporary to meet the end goal. What's the end goal?
So yeah, obviously with the potential closing for the 15th Street warehouse, we're going to have to find a temporary solution if we're going to try to evaluate this option. Obviously, I'm going to need help with it, and it's not something that one person can do, so we're going to need multiple departments. So we're going to need, everybody on board to make this happen. And again, this is considering what's best for the city, not just finding space just to get by or to make a quick decision. This is long-term.
Is this the long-term goal? Is this your long-term goal?
I think having the pole buildings built for each department would be the long-term goal.
Is your long-term goal? Okay.
Commissioner Watson, I like the idea. It's just like, as you, asked the question. Now, I'm not a firefighter, but as you said, I understand they have extra equipment. Like, they have the high water utility vehicle, they have a boat, we have a jet ski. They're not needed all the time, but they're not going to be located as they're located right now on Buck Street. You're not going to build as that question grew in my mind, we obviously have to have it nearby the fire station that they're non-frequently used equipment can be used rather quickly. Well, on Buck Street, I don't find a sizable property for what they were asking. So I'm right now, as you gave this presentation, location, just do you have any in mind where all
There's
these
a couple
buildings?
locations that we were looking at. I was trying to get some more information on that for a list so we can actually go out to these properties and look. That's kind of
You
something
don't have
that's-
to, you don't have to share it, but just,
Yeah.
so like the complete plan that you have, just so you can, where like every department's buildings needs could be, or
Right.
should be.
Yeah, like I said, we have to have a list of properties and see what's best for each department. It's kind of like the focus. This presentation today was just trying to go over prices and keep you updated on, the findings of this potential option.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I think Commissioner Watson already knows that I think that these presentations are very helpful. But to reiterate, Mayor Romanek, I don't see where they're going. That's my concern. This all looks great, and I love it. I don't see where it's going. And I like it here, but I can't see it because I don't see where any of these things are going to be built.
Right. Yeah, space is definitely tough. So when we're talking about selling our properties, we have to consider what's best for us and best for our department. So we can't sell every piece of property. So right now I'm working on a list, and I would like to go on site, evaluate them, probably work with the professional zoning, planning, that kind of deal, to make sure the properties don't have any other ideas or what's going to be built on them. So yeah, it's something that's in the works. I do have a couple locations I would like to look at, but before I present them or talk about them, I would like to do my homework on them.
Thank you.
As far as like the other day, we needed a boat for water rescue. One marine boat is always inside, ready to be just dropped on the hitch of our brush truck.
Correct.
But the others, right now, along with other equipment at the firehouse, are just sitting out in the weather between the firehouse and the Verizon building. And you know what happens when they're sitting out in the weather. Like Commissioner Watson says, I know as far as the fire department goes, as far as the police department goes, we're looking at long-term. This is going to deal with it. I know of a couple places, but like he says, right now he's working through the whole deal.
Yeah, especially.
Trying to stay proactive on it and.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I'm trying to, I only have streets and roads really. So, if anybody else has any options or wants to present anything to go over, ideas, I'm willing to listen to them. This is just something that I would like to support.
I like that it encompasses all of the aspects of municipal government, but not to take too much of a bite. Maybe what 15th Street just encompasses. Maybe there's just a solution just for we're looking at streets and roads and parks and rec.
Streets and roads is completely out of it, only because of they're sustained in the area that they have already.
Yeah, they're good.
So this doesn't even include any of the area that streets and roads previously had. Again, the warehouse did have over 43,000 square feet that we're trying to replace. So I don't really see 43,000 square feet for a building that's already constructed, available, and on the market. I just think that we should look at other options compared to a building that's only 16,000 square feet. So again, this is over 32,000 square feet for the same cost of a single building right now. Anything else?
I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Steve.
A little warm in here.
We have now reached the public comment on agenda items only. If any of the three members of the public would like to come up to the podium. Seeing none, I will close the public comment on agenda items. Discussion of commissioners. Commissioner Hewitt.
I'll be short. We got a closed session going to. I need to throw a thank you out so that I do not forget it. Downtownship happened to be in town Saturday doing a dive drill off of the Vine Street Bridge. I call it Brandon Avenue Bridge. When a water rescue came, and naturally, fire department was dropping the boat on the truck, and they were heading, and downtownship, they just were wrapping up. Timing was, It was a bad incident, but timing was perfect. They were just wrapping up and they responded directly to Union Lake. Contrary to popular belief out there, nobody was injured, nobody was hurt. A man got caught in high winds and took on water, and we wound up with our rescue boat towing him back to land, and all was good. I just didn't want to forget that as we moved to the next meeting.
Excellent. Thank you, Down Township and Mayor Rothman, right? No, you know, sometimes with emergency services, timing is impeccable and they can be at the right place at the right time, and luckily everybody was safe. You know, we know from, you know, the city from Down Township, they always come out to our polar plunge and they're always there. So they do a great job. They train hard. They have that special apparatus with them all the time, just for that. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Commissioner Watson.
I don't have anything at this time.
Commissioner Ranello.
I have nothing at this time.
Vice Mayor Sui.
Yeah, speaking of Vine Street, the state was in town last week looking at Vine and 47. They wanted to close Vine Street, make a bus stop there. So engineering told them no. They said they had a resolution that was previously signed. We said, show us. Thus far, they haven't. So if you guys get anything from the state to sign about roads, make sure you read it really carefully.
What kind of a bus stop? A
Just
building
they
bus
pull-
stop or
no,
just
they
a
pull off
regular?
So they could pull off and stop at 47. It didn't make any sense, but
Okay.
that's not surprising. I'll
Okay.
adjust the order at the regular meeting. So that's all I have for now.
Thank you. At this time, Mayor Romanek does not have anything for his department or anything to speak. I appreciate Commissioner Watson and his presentation. This is obviously an ongoing matter that we are all actively involved in, every department, as shown by Commissioner Watson. So your work is duly gratitude. We have now reached the public comment portion of our meeting. If anybody would like to come up, any of the three occupants that are the public here, anybody? Seeing none, it's nice and warm in here. We have closed session in a closed room. Seeing nobody, I'll close the public comment, closing comment of the commissioners. Seeing none, resolutions.
Okay, I have a resolution authorizing a closed session for the following matter: discussion of potential settlement of pending action of Brennan Brothers LLC versus City of Millville, docket number CUML 0000648-23, under attorney-client privilege and ongoing litigation.
Motion.
Make motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay.